Welcome to Mindful Chatting, and I'm really glad that you're here today because I want to start off by asking you a question. How many times have you started over? Not just like once or twice, but how many times have you absolutely had to restart? Like the planner, the budget, the workout routine, the morning routine, the diet, the project, the course, the business idea, the cleaning schedule, just the goal. Because if you're anything like me, you've probably had dozens of fresh starts. And every time you tell yourself, like I do, this time it's going to be different. This time I'm going to change my life. And maybe it is for a few days, and then maybe even a few weeks, or maybe even a few months. And then life will happen. You get sick, the kids need something, work gets super busy and overwhelming, you forget, you fall behind, or even you miss a few days. And then suddenly your brain says the thing of, well, I guess I'll just start again on Monday. Today, I want to challenge that entire way of thinking because I don't think the problem is that you keep falling off track. I think the problem is that nobody taught you how to get back on when you fall off. But don't worry, we're going to unpack this together.
Welcome to Mindful Chatting, a podcast where therapy meets real life. I'm Kristen, a therapist, business owner, and a lifelong student of what it means to fully show up in our relationships, in our work, and in our healing. Here, we unpack mental health concepts, explore mindfulness tools, and talk through the messy, beautiful, in-between moments that shape us. Whether you're a fellow clinician, a curious listener, or someone navigating your own growth, this space is for you. Let's chat.
One of the sneakiest traps of ADHD, especially ADHD brains, is that we fall into what I call the fresh start fantasy. It's the belief that the next version of me that I'm planning for will finally be able to do it right. Next Monday, or next month, or after the vacation, or after the summer is over, or after the holidays are over, or after life will just calm down. But come on, let's be honest. When does life really actually calm down? We keep waiting for this version of life that has no interruptions, has no chaos to it, but that's not really real life. Real life is really messy, and real life includes a lot of stress, sickness, kids, travel, interruption, emotional delays, bad sleep, and just really unexpected problems. And yet we keep building systems that only work under these perfect planning conditions and this ideal week or this ideal version of ourselves. And guess what? It's just not working. And here's something that I see really over and over again. ADHD women in particular tend to be incredibly capable. But because we're capable, we set these really unrealistic expectations on ourselves. We create plans for these really incredible days, not our average day. And we definitely not on our hardest day. And then when we can't maintain that level of perfection, we just assume that we failed and we abandon it all. But what if the problem wasn't necessarily you? What if the problem was the expectation that you're placing on yourself and how you think you should be showing up?
If you want to understand your ADHD in a deeper way, I've created the ADHD Crash Course, and it walks you through ADHD step by step so that you can actually start understanding your brain and not shaming it. Everything's in small, doable lessons designed for your ADHD in mind. The link is in the show notes.
I want to talk about the one of the biggest consistency killers, this all or nothing thinking. It sounds like I missed one workout, or I already blew all of my calories for the day. I forgot my planner again. I missed my morning routine. I skipped that one week. And somehow one missed action becomes this I've ruined absolutely everything. But that's not logical. That's perfectionism because progress isn't destroyed by one misday or one bad diet day. It's destroyed by abandoning the entire journey and process in the midst of all of that. I cannot tell you how many times I've restarted things: fitness, planning, school schedule, business systems, even podcasting. Every time I would think I need to get back on track. That tends to be like my motto of every week. And eventually, I just kind of realized something. There was no track. There was just life. This was just life. And life naturally has periods where I'm going to be more consistent and periods where I'm just recovery mode and I'm going to be doing the bare minimum. And that has to be okay. That has to be enough some weeks. The goal wasn't to stay perfectly consistent. I changed the goal to recover faster, and that changed everything for me.
Okay, quick pause. Because you've ever found yourself rewinding this episode like 3 times because your brain just drifted, this is for you. I hear this all the time. I can focus, just not when I actually need to. And that's exactly what the focus course is about. Because here's the truth. ADHD isn't a lack of attention, it's a regulation issue, which is why some days you're locked in for hours and other days you're rereading the same sentence, wondering what just happened. So inside my executive functioning focus course, I break this down in a way that actually makes sense for you. We go through how your attention works in your brain, your specific focus patterns, why you get distracted externally and internally, and how to actually build a system that helps you stay on track and come back when you drift. Because the goal isn't perfect focus, it's knowing how to return without spiraling. So if you're tired of blaming yourself and you just want something that actually works with your brain, I'll link the focus course in the show notes. All right, let's get back to this episode.
We talk endlessly about this motivation, discipline, productivity, and all these tricks and tips and hacks, but we rarely talk about the recovery from all of it. Yet recovery is really a skill that determines whether people succeed in the long term. Because think about it, everyone falls off. Everyone. The difference is who falls off. The difference is how long do they stay off? Is it one day? Is it one week? Is it 6 months? Is it 5 years? So I'm going to introduce the ADHD Reset Method for you about how we recover and return when we fall off. Because this is a skill, and I'm going to give you steps, and I'm going to teach you how to come back. So the first step is let's stop this shame spiral. Before anything else, I want you to pause. No criticism, no self-attack. No, I knew I'd fail, or I'd fall off. No, what's wrong with me? We're not doing that today because shame doesn't improve your consistency. If it did, we would be consistent, right? It actually destroys it. So instead, I want you to ask yourself, what the hell happened? What happened that caused me to fall off? Instead of what's wrong with me. So, in this step, I want you to think about one thing that maybe you've been putting off or you start up and then you fall off. I just want you to think about one, not the whole laundry list of things. And I just want you to think about that one thing and change the way you're looking at it. Instead of going, why can't I do this? Or what keeps happening? I want you to ask yourself, what happens that causes me to fall off? Then step 2 is I want you to assess your actual reality. I want you to ask yourself things like what's working, what's not working, what's changed recently, or what's taking more energy from me right now that I can't apply that energy to the thing that I really want to work and stay consistent on. This isn't judgmental. This is information. This is all data for you because you're going to apply this when you recover and come back. So take that thing that you decided to work on. After you ask what happened, I want you to ask what's working, what's not working in that particular thing. Is anything changed recently in your life? And that could be you. And what's taking up all the energy from you right now that's not causing you to come back to that particular thing? Then I want you to adjust your expectations. Sometimes the old plan just no longer fits who you are in your life. And guess what? That's okay. Maybe your capacity has changed. Maybe you're in a season that's changed, or maybe your priorities and your values are changing and adjusting. A good system that works adapts to all of these things. It doesn't become the rigid thing that you have to keep coming back to. So let's come back to the thing that you're working on. So I'm going to use an example as we go through this. So let's say the one thing that I'm working on is maybe my diet. Maybe I want to work on carb cycling. So this is something that I've tried multiple times and maybe I've failed and I've fallen off. So instead of asking myself, why can't I do this? What happened? Well, what probably keeps happening is probably I'm emotionally eating, or I'm eating based on my stress levels and what's going on in my day and not making an actual plan for the day of what I should be eating. And then I think about, okay, have I ever made a plan in the past? Yeah. Well, what happened? What caused it to work? What caused it not to work? Okay, so maybe I make a plan, but maybe I don't meal prep. Maybe I don't make the meals ahead because I notice when I do those things, I tend to be a little bit more efficient. I tend to not eat emotionally and I tend to eat when I need to and what I need to. And then I need to set my expectations. Not every day is going to be a carb cycling day. Maybe some days I'm going to try my best. I'm going to see what happens. And then I'm going to come back as a reflection at the end of the day. And I'm going to go, what worked and what didn't? And what can I try again tomorrow? I'm readjusting my expectations of what that looks like because it's a constant adjustment. It's a constant tweak as I'm working on perfecting a skill for myself. That's how I want you to look at the thing that you keep falling off. This is a skill. And guess what? I haven't entered that skill yet. I haven't mastered it yet. So just like how we wouldn't expect a baby to just get up and walk, we expect it to fall. We expect it to make mistakes. You're going to have to accept that you're doing those same things as you build this skill up for yourself. And guess what? It might take a couple of years to do it.
If you're listening to this and thinking, this is exactly what I struggle with, I want you to know that I built something specifically for you. The EF, or Executive Functioning Activation course, walks you through why task initiation feels so hard with your ADHD and how to actually get yourself moving without shame, pressure, or burnout. It's short, practical, and designed for ADHD brains, not productivity culture. If starting is your biggest barrier, this course gives you structure, language, and tools that actually work for you. You'll find the link in the show notes.
Now we're on step 4. I want you to re-enter in small little ways. This is going to be the hugest part. I think most people try to restart and go back to the thing 100%. Don't. I want you to re-enter at maybe like 20%. Instead of doing the 60-minute workout that I had already planned for myself that maybe I failed, maybe I'm going to do a 10-minute walk. Instead of full planning an entire session, I'm just going to review tomorrow. Instead of the perfect meal prep that I'm going to do for tomorrow, I'm just going to buy some protein and some fruit. Small actions create momentum, and momentum is what creates motivation. I think a lot of people think that motivation is just going to fall out of the sky for them and they're just going to get this wild hair and they're going to be able to come right back on. And guess what? Maybe that has happened for you in the past, but re-entry isn't going to look like this. It's going to look like a small recovery entry back into something, because we're reframing and reconsidering our expectations for ourselves. So if I go back to the thing, carb cycling, so maybe meal prep is something that I strive for. That might be my thing that I want to work for, but maybe I just focus on one meal at a time. Maybe I re-enter by just focusing on how do I make my carb cycling match my breakfast today? That's a re-entry. That's a small start. That doesn't mean I have to do it for the whole day. But guess what? That re-entry is one step closer than if I just abandon it and just because I didn't do one thing perfect, I didn't do it all day. The next step I want you to think about is expecting future disruptions. This might be the most important step out of all of them because you're going to plan for falling off. I know that sounds crazy when you think about it, but we never plan for this. And I don't want you to do this because we're negative or we're critical. I want you to do this because you're realistic. I want you to ask yourself, what will I do when life inevitably interrupts this plan that I want to do? And I want you to build that recovery plan around it before you need it. So let's say I have an emotional day or a stressful day at work and I come home and I'm craving some chocolate. Well, maybe my recovery plan or the thing that I'm doing that might interrupt that is maybe I create some healthy snacks that are craving based, that are sweet based, so that if I do fall off, I'm allowed this particular thing. Or maybe I set a limit on that particular thing. Like my whole kryptonite is Oreos. So it's not that I can't have ever an Oreo again. Maybe I have 3, and that's where I stop. And I give myself permission that I can have the little thing because I'm gonna fall off. And if I plan for that, then I don't have these expectations that I failed. So I want you to think about that life is going to happen and things are going to interrupt you. So how do I just re-enter? Plus, I already have a plan. So I'm kind of reducing this overwhelm and this anxiety attached to reentry because I know what reentry is going to look like for myself. The truth about consistency is that I think we have consistency completely backwards. We imagine that consistency is this like perfect effort, perfect habits, this kind of perfect follow through that we're striving for. But really, to be honest, real consistency looks like stopping and starting, adjusting, continuing and repeating and doing it over and over again. When you look at maybe fitness fanatics who have these ideal bodies, I bet if you were to ask them what their consistency looked like, it would look like them falling off. It would look like them having cheat days. It would look like a recovery that's actually built into a system that they know works for them. Hey, if you want to be first in line for the ADHD Planning Stack pilot course, make sure you sign up to get early access, discounts, and extra support. The link is in the show notes. This is why I built the ADHD planning stack, because planning isn't about creating a perfect schedule for yourself. It's about creating a system that can actually survive your life, a system that works when you're motivated, when you're tired, when life gets really busy, and when things don't go according to your actual plan. Those are the moments that aren't your part of your expectations. They're part of your process of who you're about to become. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this episode, it's this. You do not need another fresh start. You need a better way back into the plan that you've already created. Because the most successful people aren't the ones who never fall off track, who never lose consistency. They're the ones who know how to return when the interruptions and the derails happen. And maybe consistency isn't about staying on track. Maybe consistency is about shortening that distance between where you fell off and getting back on. I want to thank you for joining me. And as always, be gentle with your mind. One more thing before you go, and this helps me personally, staying present and grounded, which we all need, especially when your brain wants to spiral into disconnection. Me too. It's Brain FM. It's musically designed to help ADHD brains, well, really anyone's brain, focus, relax, or sleep, and I use it almost daily. If you want to try it, I've dropped my link in the show notes. And if you're looking for planning tools or ADHD-friendly resources, I'll keep a list of my favorite links in every episode.